Okay, well, hang on. Beware, I'm about to show my webcam, so I don't know if you guys can see me. This maybe, if it's too much for you, I can always turn it off.
Oh,
If you
oh.
guys just ate or something like that. Hello,
Were you in an
Mike
accident
Russell.
recently, or?
Yeah. Um, so it's amazing how the camera puts on 30, 50, 100
Oh
pounds.
yeah.
But anyway, hi, Mike Russell. I'm the one of the facilitators for the District 6510 Membership Committee. And welcome to our webinar. This is our first run at this. We thought it was a good thing to try out. Again, for all the things you guys talked about, it's portable. I don't have to drive to Mount Vernon or try to drive. I can do it from the comfort of my own home or in the car, like Sean is doing right now. And we can put out a lot of
Hey
different
Dan.
content. So our goal is to do one of these a month. We're going to try to stick with that and see where that goes. And again, what we're really looking for is the what do you guys want to hear? What tools and strategies and other things you're struggling with that you want help with? So what I wanted to do first, for those of you who are unfamiliar with GoToMeeting, if you can see my screen, what I'm going to do is my little cursors right now is kind of doing a circle over the umbrella. So basically, what you're able to do is down here in the bottom, you're able to type a message or type a question. So anytime you want to show if you don't have a raise your hand function or anything like that, so you're basically just going to need to type something up there. So Deb, I don't know if you want to give that a try, and then we can show how that goes. But then we can fire away. Obviously, you can just talk. You can just talk, since we have that function here too. Um, so this is meant to be interactive. Okay, so this is not going to be a one-way conversation. This is, again, we want to get something out of it. We want to build the relationships. That's first. And more colorful slides. I like that, Logan. Uh, and yeah, I need to get, so the gray, you're right. The gray is out, but the colorful umbrella and more of that. Okay, so we'll go for that. Um, Okay, so again, our goals, we want to build relationships, new tools, strategies, exchange ideas, and partner. Okay, and Logan, just like you saw, we've got a new Facebook group, lots of stuff in there. If you look in the files section, a lot of things to go poke around and see, a lot of different ideas. Again, we're plagiarism is the highest form of flattery. We'll take anything that helps from anywhere to try to get us in the right direction. Um, there's also on the Facebook in the file section is one of the best things going around there is Good Ideas Membership Guide. It was compiled by Jack Whitus from our group, and it really does have a soup to nuts type of approach to membership. Everything from attracting members to retaining them to the public relations side.
Is
So
that
that's all
something
good too.
members read or something we send out to potentials?
That's more for members
Maybe both.
members to read. Like, what are your strategies? What's some good ideas to attracting membership? So, um, but it does show what are the types of things you would include in a pamphlet that you would hand out to a potential member. It does talk about that too and how to some ideas about creating it. And we do have some templates also in the files with that specific kind of thing. The pamphlet or the little brochure or card you would hand out to somebody. And then the final thing for our committee is we want to help your club. So we're willing to come one on one and come in and help you strategize for your specific club and what works, what doesn't, what are your situations and stuff. So overall, welcome. We're very glad to have you. Um, Now, one of the things that I'm really excited about is working with this fantastic lady, Dr. Deb Frey. She has been a Rotarian only since 2012, but is yet a charter member of the Jackson Williamson County Sunset Club. But she's a Paul Harris Fellow, and so it looks like she's been public relations chair and now is already on the district talking about membership. So now, but she's got a long history with leading these kinds of events as a professional strategic planner, and as a coach, 30 years in the workforce and organizational development. Again, helping both organizations and adult learners, coaching them towards excellence. So today we're really excited to have her give this presentation. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make her the presenter, and so the screen is now yours.
Ah, okay.
Hopefully it's now yours.
Hopefully it's mine. Yeah. There we go. All
All right.
right.
Fantastic.
All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm so thrilled that I've got a few of you out there joining me tonight and doing this live. We are going to be recording this, so it can be downloaded later, and you can kind of listen to some of the things that we've shared. Yes?
Sorry.
Is my producer recording?
There's a cat.
Yes, it is.
For the listening audience, Mike Russell is my producer, kind of like Roz is for Frasier, and so he's in charge of recording.
He's Cat, Logan. It's amazing what you can do on webinars.
Go Roz!
So if calling Roz, calling Mike, he answers to both.
Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Anytime during the presentation, if you want to ask a question or you want to key in a question, as you can see on your screen, there's a place to key in things. So feel free to do that. Oops, and I lost my screen again. All right. I hear voices. Lots of voices. So if you have you have something going on where you need to mute your phone, please do, because everybody hears it, and you may not want us all to hear it. So
Nonsense. I want to hear it all.
We had done kind of a run-through of my presentation back in October, and we decided that we wanted to wait and do the full presentation in this kind of a venue or face-to-face. So this is a new and improved version of what I call membership loyalty presentation, the loyalty membership development for your vibrant club. And what we are striving to do here is to bootstrap off of the visioning program. We want to make sure that as a part of the visioning, as we follow up to the visioning program for each of the clubs, we capture the momentum to do a strategy for membership development. And of course, creating that process or that thinking and culture in each of the clubs about how you build membership and also retain loyal members, develop them and keep them on board. I hear a lot of noise back there, so if you have something picking up a lot of noise, you might want to mute it. Ah, it's better. Thank you. So what we're trying to do with our strategy here, we're looking at exploring and discussing the positive impact and attracting and maintaining loyal, relationship-driven member base in our Rotary clubs. And of course, as a leadership team, the issue of member, there's a lot of noise back there, folks.
It's not me.
Okay. Thank you very much. Whoever needs to mute if you've got a microphone picking up sound. Understand, of course, that the leadership team, the membership loyalty piece should be a key focus of any leadership team of the club. So for a moment, let's take a look at member loyalty and explore the impact of attracting and maintaining this loyal membership base. And if you think about it, it's not just about making friends, right? It's about achieving some goals together. So we're going to look at some questions and try to answer these things this evening. For instance, what is member loyalty and how is it different from member satisfaction? How do loyal members affect the sustainability of all of our clubs? How can we develop a club to support a member loyalty strategy? In other words, how do we make those existing club members understand and embrace what member loyalty is, and how do we do that? And certainly identify ways to do it, how to develop and enhance the member loyalty culture. And a lot of times people think about culture and they don't really understand that that is a body of people thinking the same way, sharing the same values. It's not easy to change folks, and we all know that sometimes large groups, the larger the groups, the more difficult it is to change. And that is part of working towards a better club culture, if you will. So as a leadership team, we have different roles and functions, certainly critical ones that relate to our members. So what must we do? I often think about, what is that? Somebody running an ice maker back there. I often think about Peter Drucker because, frankly, as a guru of leadership and management schools for many years, he has often been the person quoted most frequently with concepts that are timeless. One of his statements he made early on in his career was, the function of business is to attract and maintain customers, period. That's it. The function of business is to attract and maintain customers. And if you think about Rotary International, our customers are members. If we don't have members, we don't have an organization, and we cannot achieve the goals that we want to achieve. So just like traditional businesses, Rotary International needs members to be financially viable and certainly to serve our communities and the world community as well. So if the reason for Rotary to exist centers on their members or the community that they serve as the leadership team, we've got to manage and we've got to measure our member interface, one of our most important functions as leaders of these teams. So to a successful club, the members are the most important ingredient, period. The most important ingredient to a club are the members. That's no big aha for anyone in this group tonight. I know that all of you understand the critical importance of it, but it's very challenging sometimes to understand how critical that is when we get ready to do a project and we don't have enough people to do it and we don't have enough resources to do it. So a lot of times people come up short and wonder why, and it's because they didn't develop the people in their club. So as a leadership team, we've got some critical roles that we need to develop. First of all, we need to know how to develop membership-oriented strategies. What are those things? What does that mean? There's a lot of verbiage there, but what does that mean, member-oriented strategies? What is that? Also developing member-friendly policies and processes. Examples might be how you manage your team, your club, for example, may not always be open or to new members depending on work schedules and things like that. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes, but we have a lot of clubs, for example, that are changing whether there's a meal structure involved in the fees and how they do the dues, incorporating breakfast or lunch or dinner, or whether or not they treat that as part of the plan. Some of the clubs have family plans, working with different experiments to see what works. Also, the attendance, what is attendance, that sort of thing. Another point, develop our members as it relates to creating, and I meant to do this here, developing our members as it relates to creating and sustaining member relationships. In other words, how do our members understand and communicate well with new members? You get new members on board, well, that's great. Well, how do you get them involved right away? The existing members have to be part of that, and they have to embrace that. Somebody stirred some batter back there? Ah, there we go. And also monitor and improve on the progress, the issues that are defining those particular club members, the things that they consider to be the most important things. So we have some big questions to answer, and we're going to try to address a few of these tonight, but I want you to treat this more like a brainstorming session than anything else. I want everyone to think about these things in terms of, wow, how does my club fit in this? How do my club members fit in this? So I'm going to ask this big question. What does your club do to attract new members?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth?
Yep. One of the best ways to get them in there. Once you get them in there, then there's a whole other slew of things that come into question.
The food for thought is to make certain that your members get what they want and they come back for more. So word of mouth is certainly one of those things where you say, "Wow, you should have been there last week. We did this." Or
You have to make sure that the new people form some sort of relationship with as many as possible, if not just one member there, so that they feel that connection and that they can communicate with that person about coming again.
Absolutely, absolutely. And all the factors, anything at all that has a potential to negatively impact somebody, that can have a negative impact on a member. Let's say maybe cliques. When people come into the club meeting and people are clustered in little groups, and some clubs, I am very fortunate. We have really friendly clubs in our area, and every time I've gone to the clubs, I've been welcomed by everyone. But I know that there are times when you walk into an organization, you feel like you're a stranger, and there can be some unfriendly policies, some things that maybe don't make them feel very special. Taking a look at some of the things that may even possibly insult somebody or seem rude. Maybe an inappropriate response time. You ask a question about something, and somebody tells them they'll get back to them, and then they don't, or they wait for a couple of weeks before they get back to them. And also, the concept of untrained members, members that have not been effectively mentored as a Rotarian. This is a big issue because when people don't know what they're doing as a member, they don't know what being a Rotarian is, what it really means to them. They haven't really experienced it or haven't fleshed out being in that role yet. They can't very well sell it. Their value.
They need to find somebody who can.
That's right. That's right. And so being able to identify with and make sure that you address problems that make people feel like they don't necessarily belong, you want to eliminate those kind of things that happen. So thinking about attracting new members, of course, word of mouth is the perfect example. I know that you can do different kinds of promotions. You can do brochures, and you can do some kinds of PR in terms of putting
especially
press,
online.
Yeah, but online is really, and of course we've all discovered Facebook, Instagram, those kinds of things seem to be
easily dismissed.
Boom, shoo, just like that. And putting a message out on Twitter can be rolled out. There are so many different mechanisms now, I won't go into that, but there are so many ways to get the message out for free that really getting the word out about your club is simply about banging your drum and making sure that every moment you spend with your club members is special, that you celebrate, regardless of how it may not be a huge moment for you, but it could be a huge moment for someone else. Celebrating that moment, and every single meeting something should happen or you've wasted your time.
Make sure your members know that if they did not make that connection with the new member at the meeting for some reason, that they should try to make that connection online afterwards.
That's right. That's right. The follow-up is a special moment. We very often when I was teaching college courses, I used to tell my students, well, if you missed class yesterday, I hope you have a really good friend in this class because I don't repeat myself. And they got a huge response. They actually ended up being very, very good at helping each other and becoming very cohesive because of that. Now, of course, I did repeat myself from time to time, but the point is, they considered investing their time well at the moment that they were in there with me, and when they weren't able to be with me, they caught up with someone who was, and they managed to have that alliance throughout an entire semester. 16 weeks is a long time. So it is a way to bond them.
Now, I was in a club once where an experience where you were assigned a mentor when you came to the club and joined the club, and that was a way of retaining you and keeping you coming back, and they developed this membership or this mentorship relationship.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's part of the presentation tonight. We've got a mentor checklist that Dick Erdman shared with us, and I'm going to be sharing that with all of you to put that into play. We all have these tools out there, but I think that probably, as what we have found on the committee, a lot of folks are not using them to their full advantage. And this is something that we're going to try to help all of the clubs use more effectively, be more involved with. Now, here's a big question, and it's a hard one for most people to answer. What are the costs, the time and the money associated with attracting and maintaining loyal members?
Deb, from my
think
point of
about
view,
your activity.
Oh, one thing
ahead.
I've noticed is that some people are really good at attracting members, but to expect the same people to do the mentorship as well, I mean that's a lot of time.
It is.
So I mean, I think you and I talked about it before. You almost need to have other people whose job it is to do either the mentorship, forums or whatever. I mean, it takes a lot of time to spin everybody up.
Absolutely, and you can't ignore that time, because most of us are working professionals. We're out there trying to make a living, take care of our families, and the Rotary service is an extraneous thing to all of those other things in our busy lives. So obviously the larger our membership, the more Rotarians will have to help with that task, and the easier it is to job share, if you will, the mentoring responsibility. But understanding there are costs involved as far as the kinds of activities that you do. Some of the activities that the clubs do to attract members, they need to think about how they're going to invest in those and how they're going to use those for a multi-purpose. A lot of times getting people involved in a service project, it's like, come help us with this project, long before they're members, just to get them involved in the activity, the elbow grease, if you will, is a great free way to get people in, to do something with you and enjoy the camaraderie of working with Rotarians, and ultimately getting some satisfaction from that. If you think about, I'm going to throw another question out here in terms of thinking about whether or not you have a budget or a planned strategy to have activities to improve member loyalty and member growth. And I think I mentioned budget because it kind of feeds on what Mike was saying about having folks to do that mentor role takes some investment of time. It also may take investment of extra resources, like to take a group of 2 or 3 members to dinner, away from the club experience, but just to spend time mentoring a small group like that. Something that, looking at how any particular club might approach that, look at what might they do to help improve their chances of not only gaining a member, but improving that loyalty process.
Deb, one thing that our club does is once a month, and I think a few other clubs around O'Fallon do it too, but we just meet at a bar. It's always like the 4th Thursday of the month. We kind of rotate what bar we're going to go, and we don't provide any food. Everyone just knows between 5 and 7, just come, grab a drink, and we publicize it as stuff, but it's basically a no cost way for people to get together, get to know each other, shoot the
Yeah.
bull, and just have a good time.
And that's, honestly, that has probably got to be the best in terms of camaraderie, building that little bit of relationship, getting to know people a little bit. But think about the kinds of things your club does to assist members who are courting prospective members, and how you can set up those things, and the membership chairs, the presidents, the president-elects, any of the leadership team. It is very important that they focus on this very important task, because we need to build our clubs. We understand the critical nature of that need at this point.
Deb,
Uh-huh.
this is Jack.
Hi.
One thing, before we get off mentoring, if we can get the club culture to change a bit, that the membership committee in a club and the membership chairman be elevated in importance. So the membership chairman in a club and the people on a committee that are committed to this, they be responsible for mentoring. They be and for getting mentors for each new member, and orientation, and then following up that it's done, that the mentor actually mentors. And so anyway, that's my contribution to mentoring, that each club elevate the importance of a membership chairman and the membership committee.
Absolutely, and we're not actually leaving that mentor topic. We'll be picking that up again in a few minutes, Jack, because it is a critical role, and it is very important. And Dan brought up a good point here in the chat, that everyone has to be a mentor, not just a few. The entire club needs to understand that and accept that role at some point. I have this philosophy, and I know a lot of other educators feel the same way. If you want to learn something, teach it. And when you're a mentor, you are the teacher. And even if you are a young Rotarian, I certainly have so much to learn about Rotary myself, and yet I find that when I'm helping other people learn about Rotary, I learn so much more. Thinking about when our members are loyal and based on what's really important to them, they receive more value from us than from any other experiences or community service projects. So what is that? And I'm comparing two concepts now. Member satisfaction, I expected it and I got it, therefore I'm satisfied, versus member loyalty. I got more than I expected and my expectations were exceeded. Now, obviously, we'd like to see that member loyalty cultivated in all of our clubs, and that is where the excitement, that's where the buy-in, that's where the investment happens. So currently, it seems that the majority of leadership teams are focusing on member satisfaction to a degree, and to determine, whether their service measurements are met and their level of success. But it's a little bit of a flawed model, because our numbers are not increasing the way they need to meet up with the loss of members at the same time. And we know these numbers to be true, and I won't spend a lot of time on the statistics. All of you know that we're losing members as fast as we're gaining them, so we're having a break-even situation. So understanding that satisfaction, of course, is simply getting what you expected. Doesn't make you necessarily run back to that store. Great example, here it is Christmas time, and we're all buying stuff, and Cyber Monday is past, and now we're moving on to, I don't know, Cyber Thursday, whatever that day is. And I order a lot of things online. And when you order something online and you hope to get it shipped by a respectable date, and you click that thing and it says, yes, it will be shipped and you should receive it on December the 4th, and you receive it on December the 2nd. How happy are you? I mean, you're happy. You got it 2 days early. You did not expect that because they did not tell you they were going to make sure and get it to you by the 2nd, so your expectations are exceeded. It's really important for us to embrace and understand that in terms of our club members, that we need to give them a little bit more than they ever expected. And when they leave a meeting, when they leave an event, these new members need to feel like, wow, that was the best experience I ever had. I can't wait till next week. And frankly, it's about us living and breathing that model as well. So providing member value begins with this philosophy. Strong member relationships, of course. We cultivate those relationships. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be best friends with everyone in the club. It means you have to respect your club members and respect the diversity that they bring, and also listen to what they want, what makes them happy, because as a club leader, you need to understand that everyone has some need to be satisfied. They wouldn't be in a service organization if they didn't. So finding out what they need to get from this experience is a real important part of being that club member. The other philosophy, implemented by properly trained and motivated members who know how to deliver value. Now we all know Jake Erdman. Jake Erdman, he is a living, breathing model of Rotary because he is so happy to be a Rotarian. He walks in the room, he's a happy guy. He's happy to be a Rotarian. He's there simply to let you know that he understands the value of Rotary. He considers himself a valuable member, I'm sure. If he doesn't, we'll tell him anyway. But the point is, he has some satisfaction. You see it on his face, you see it in his behaviors, you see it the way he interacts with other people. This is something that he shares with all of us. We have several members in our leadership team at district level that we all enjoy being around simply because they just bubble with Rotarian love. They really enjoy it. So this is the kind of thing that we need to bring to each of our clubs. We need to have some of those people that are just absolutely thrilled to be Rotarian and happy to be in that room. So let's talk for just a moment about what we call perceived value. It's what members want versus what they get from us. Is it the same? Do they get what they want? And this is something that we have to kind of focus on a little bit in terms of listening to folks and finding out what they want, what members believe they can get from someplace else. They have a lot of choices, a lot of ways to spend their time. Do they necessarily want to invest all of their extra time with us? The idea of perceived value as opposed to just being satisfied is that it's the best predictor of our future, the best predictor of our growth. If people perceive value, they will stick around. If they anticipate value, they will stick around. They will invest themselves more. Our marketplace, being service, of course, is something that people can opt out of so easily. Now, we know some clubs that are check writers, that they don't necessarily get involved with the elbow grease. That's okay if that's what they choose to do, but many, many, many of the projects that we try to do in Rotary require a little bit of elbow grease too. And so putting that into perspective, what is the perceived value? Depends on what that member wants. What if that member does not desire or cannot invest themselves physically, but want to be that philanthropist that writes the checks and funds things?
We love them too.
We love them too. So you want to make sure that everyone's getting what they want. And what do they love about it? First of all, they love helping. They love being that person that can provide that financial resource. But we need to make sure that they feel recognized and bang their drum as much as possible to make sure that folks
And
know.
show them the results of their contributions, whatever
Exactly.
it takes.
That's a really
Exactly.
good point. I completely agree. I mean, that person who writes the checks should be shown pictures or video
Yep.
or thank you cards from the people who's go visit, have him visit, the place that got spruced up or the people he helped. I mean, and that person
They
would be
get
writing a lot
they
more
get
checks.
tagged on social media thanks to their contribution for the things we did. Blah 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 blah.
Make sure that that is a highly public recognition too, because people do appreciate getting. It's like grandma seeing your picture in the newspaper. It's important to mention it. And I often talk about the press release environment because a lot of folks don't know how to write press releases very well. And John Hunley is an excellent guru at writing press releases. But make sure you
Give
mention
me his
people.
contact info.
Oh, he's on this group. Actually,
Oh.
he's in our group. John Hundley, Hundley, and I'll send that stuff to you.
I'll find him. Sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah.
to
Oh
dump
no,
that out.
not a problem. But John is, obviously district PR taking care of us with all of the newsletters and the things that he does. But one of the key points that he brought up in one of his seminars back at the assembly, I think, was make sure you mention people, not only their name, try to get a good picture of them in that press release if you're going to make an announcement, but their hometown, where they're from. Maybe they're an owner of a business. It doesn't hurt to mention that. Mention their hometown. They're from Carbondale, Illinois. They're from O'Fallon, Illinois, because they got cousins and grandmas and kidlets and folks that are going to read that newspaper, read that press release, read the announcement wherever. Make sure that those folks in that community see that. And then, for those of you that understand search engine optimization, mentioning that town also pulls that community into that post. So let's talk for a second about some things you know about your club. What kinds of things do you know about your own club? What significant events have helped to shape the current structure and the culture of your club? Now, at the risk of using some sales language here,
Duh.
Value proposition. This is the thing that brings, the value that brings to your life, whatever that club brings to your life. This is your value proposition. So if you're telling somebody about your club and the history of your club, how you came to be, what's the nature of the members, what kinds of things they do, being able to describe those significant events really helps people to get at least a brief picture when you're talking to them, having a cup of coffee or whatever.
Especially the ones that affected you directly. Like, oh, I really got a lot out of when we did the water well thing.
Yes.
Explain that to somebody, they're like, oh, wow, that does sound really cool.
That's right. Dick shared with me and many of you may have seen it, the Fairview Heights Rotary Club at a glance, and he's just got the one pager, and at the very top of the one page it says, many opportunities, pick a few you'll enjoy. Raising money to build a Miracle League athletic field, student of the month for each local 8th grade school, ringing bells for the Salvation Army, and the list goes on and on. Mind's Eye reading service for the blind, orthopedic surgery for children from Belize. So he has this list of maybe 20 things, and then he has annual fundraisers, and he's listed several of the fundraisers at the Camelot dinner and the wines of the Round Table. At the bottom of this little one pager, we meet at 5:30 at Fairview Heights Library Meeting Room and so forth. So you see, being able to pick 3 or 4 really significant things, and like Mike says, things that are that had some deep meaning for you, help you to sell that value to someone else. So if you don't know, especially if you're a new member, find out. If you're a senior member of your club or a seasoned member of your club, talk to the newer members. Did you hear about that one project we did last year? Share that with them. They maybe haven't heard about it yet. See if they'd like to get involved this year in doing the same thing with you, or maybe coming up with something else. But this is the way to have those conversations and create that value proposition. An excellent way to get new members involved in coming up with ideas, too. Another thing you want to do is be able to differentiate your club from some other club, some other organization.
Beer.
And that can be tricky because you have to know something about the other organizations, right? So it requires a little bit of research on your part to know what kinds of projects they do, reading up on your particular area, whatever that township happens to be, or that county, or whatever area you're covering. Take a look at the different clubs even. I know down here we have quite a few Rotary clubs in close proximity. What makes the Rotary Club of Jackson, Williams, and Sunset different? Well, we hang out at happy hour.
Yep.
We're the happy hour club.
That's been my sales pitch.
And if that is one thing that differentiates us. We're a little bit different demographic. We're a very diverse club. So we have some things we set out to be different than the other clubs, and that's been kind of our mission from the get-go. Some of the clubs that are more well-established have defined some personalities of their own. Understand that this is about change. If you're not growing your membership, you might need to take a look at, all right, how does our club differ from others? How does it differ from the Lions Club or the Kiwanis? How about the activities? How do those activities compare? Member engagement. Does their club have activities where they do the classification talks, for example, to help promote each other's businesses and that sort of thing? What kinds of things are they doing that are different than you? And define what is better about your club than some other organization. Why should that be the place that people decide to invest their time?
Deb, another thing, kind of flipping the idea on its head is, I'll take O'Fallon, for instance. If we want to attract people to Rotary, we may be different, but we can actually accentuate, when we have a prospective member, I can't even get that out of my mouth. Yeah, say that 3 times. Is that, we're a morning club, we have a noon club, and then there's a sunset club. So each one of them have a different culture and also do different things. So while you're trying to woo somebody, that person, your club may not be the club, but you maybe still be able to get them into Rotary by knowing what is the structure and the cultures of the other clubs.
Exactly. The knowledge is the key. And I say this all the time when I meet someone who may be interested in Rotary. They find out I'm a Rotarian. I tell them, really it doesn't matter to me what club you join. I just believe that you would be a good Rotarian. Now, obviously, I would love for them to join my club, but the point is I do want them to be a Rotarian if I believe they're a good candidate. And by being, I guess I should say, I reduce the competition in my perspective because I want them to be on board. They'll remember what I said. They'll remember why I said it to get them on board as a Rotarian. Whether or not that buys me allegiance, who knows? But it does help them to be feel warmer about Rotary organization. So whatever approach you have, it's about educating yourself on all the clubs. I kind of pride myself. Here's some loud noise there. Am I yelling, you guys? Because sometimes I hear this. Good. Because sometimes I hear noise back there. I'm afraid I'm speaking too loud.
Is Mary Jo here?
Whoa.
Mary Jo.
Hello, Mary Jo.
Hi. You're talking about what makes us different from other service organizations. I don't think it. Can you hear me?
It's
You
really.
may want to throw your microphone in the trash.
Can you hear me now?
It's very garbled. Very
Oh,
garbled, Mary.
You sound like a robot.
I'll type.
That would be better.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go ahead. I'll type something.
Okay. Something that kind of pride myself on, and I know that several other members in our club do too, is just knowing all the other clubs, knowing the kinds of work that they do, and making sure that we respect the projects that they work on. For example, I do a lot of work in the city of Heron. That's really, Heron has a Rotary Club, and so whenever an organization comes to me from Heron and wants to do some activities, I work with the TMAD kids quite a bit. I will tell the directors, do reach out to the Rotary Club of Heron and talk to them first and give them an opportunity to help you with this, and then we can work together to help you. And it's very important that you respect the boundaries and yet demonstrate your knowledge to the new members and prospective members, that you do know what kinds of projects the various clubs do.
Do you think, to a certain aspect, as opposed to checking out every single other clubs and organizations, Facebook pages and websites and everything to keep up with what they're doing, that maybe this, maybe a different version of the District 6510 Facebook group would kind of be used to facilitate that, where each club kind of posts, we did this week, or we have these events coming up, that kind of thing? Or would that get a little crowded?
Well, I have been doing that quite a bit with the District 6510 site, cross-posting, if you will, and sharing events. And, of course, our sponsoring club, the Breakfast Club in Carbondale, I make sure that I cross-post and promote events that they are doing, like the pumpkin race, for example. I promoted that on our club page as well as to the district, and back and forth. And I do believe that paying forward is a healthy activity. Oh, Mary Jo writes, when speaking about what makes us different from other organizations, I think we have to talk about what value our club gives to members in terms of personal and professional growth, not just difference in projects. Tom, tell Mike to get me a new mic.
Good call.
And Tom says, how about doing a Rotary presentation at other community groups? Absolutely. Both of those are excellent ideas. You always have, I think that it's very, very important that that you demonstrate not only the different kinds of professions that you have in your club, but also to let people know we welcome certain kinds of professions more than others. No, we don't. We take a look at what kinds of professions give us a good mix. Now I know somebody was talking at conference about having X number of financial analysts, for example, in their club versus real estate agents or bankers and lawyers and so forth. And I think you do have to look at that a little bit, but as far as looking at the vocational aspect of helping people with their careers, this particular organization has a great model for helping people demonstrate their career expertise. I'm a good example of that because Rotary has given me an opportunity to really invest my skills and help them, and I am quite honored to be able to do that. These are the skills that I have, and this year I've been able to do that a little bit more. And honestly, doing presentations at other community groups, I think that kind of goes with almost without saying, but I don't think a lot of clubs really pursue it as aggressively as they should. And I know we certainly, as our club and some of the clubs in the Carbondale area and the Marion area, could do more of that, and it would benefit our club growth, I think.
Deb, you were talking about using classifications as how you're going to draw members. But one of the things I saw in my club is that we are so full of financial planners, and I was worried about bringing in yet another financial planner. But the other financial planners didn't really care because they had gotten beyond the point where they needed Rotary to sell their company. They said, "Sure, bring him in." So I think classification is a guide, but
Yeah.
don't necessarily shouldn't be a rule.
I agree. I think you could get yourself into a little bit of a difficult situation if you used it too strongly to guide your decisions about members. And frankly, what we've enjoyed is that we've had several people in the same occupation. They actually help each other quite a bit. There doesn't seem, there's not any unfriendly competition. So I brought this up in front of our small group last month, and I'm going to bring it up here in front of this larger group this evening. What's the worst idea you ever came up with? And the reason I ask that is because sometimes, we come up with ideas and they blow up in our face. And I want you to think about that for a second and explain or think about why it possibly didn't work. What happened, and what did you try to reverse the situation? Anybody have anything that just fell flat on their face?
I've never done anything even close to that.
So Daniel, did you really do a
It's
kissing
really
booth?
sad. There's just too many of them, I guess. It's hard to pick one.
We've had, I think we see that a lot of times, we'll have the big, I don't know, spaghetti dinner or whatever, and ow, that hurts. Kissing booth, I like it. Kissing booth, did it work out? Oh, not so
Horrible.
much, huh? I could see how that would be, that kissing booth was suggested at a thing that we did last year, and nobody bought into that one. No. In the age of Ebola. It is something to think about, because as you evaluate what the worst idea was, what the worst thing was, going back and reflecting on that a little bit, you can learn an awful lot from those mistakes. So I want you to think about why we want loyal members in the first place. It seems sort of an obvious thing, but one of the things that's very important to keep in mind is that loyal members do some things over and over again. They invest in the Rotary Foundation because it's got value for them. When they are loyal to Rotary, they are more likely to invest more in the Rotary Foundation than other investments, because they believe in the work that we do. They also provide human support for service projects. Obviously, when you need helpers, you need helpers. And nothing is more frustrating than showing up to do a project and you got 5 out of 30 people that were supposed to be there, right?
Yep. So
I think most of us in this group have had that experience at one time or another, and it's not a good thing. Not a good thing to have to work so hard at it either. When you have loyal members, you don't have to work that hard. You just say, hey, who's with me, and see how many hands get raised and on board. And they certainly do that paying forward, that generating growth. Sustaining our long-term success and growth, constant growth, is a serious component that we need to address. Dan says a failure that I've seen is just expecting people to be motivated to do something without a cheerleader. Absolutely. Absolutely, Dan. And of course, Dan knows me a long time now, and what I have often told people, don't be a grenade thrower. Don't come by and throw a great idea up there and let it blow up my face because you didn't have a plan. Or if you feel like this is a really great thing, become the champion for it so that everyone gets excited with you. Be good at selling the value of this particular project. And being a champion is much more than just coming up with a great idea. Thank you for that, Dan. That's really important to point that out. How many ideas have you seen get thrown out to a club and just lay on the table and die?
Deb, I met somebody at the district conference who's
Yes.
actually afraid of bringing up an idea of his because he thought that the ideas or the projects within his club were already well established. This was a brand new member. And so we talked about, you know, uh, finding another member and, convincing them, and just helping someone develop that plan as
Yeah,
a first step.
absolutely. And that is that culture of openness. This person probably perceived that because there was some kind of maybe body language or some sort of a tone that they perceived was, oh well, we don't want anything new here. We've got this. We got this. So you get on board with these things. And again, it kind of goes back to tone, improving that openness to say, "Look, we're coming up with some ideas. Got some ideas. What would you like to do? Who would you like to help?" Bringing those new members in and actually helping them to build a plan to implement something, that's powerful. When you have someone that's joined the club and they're a relatively new member and they come up with an idea, if 2 or 3 of the seasoned members hop on board to help them plan it, wow, that gives that importance, that, as they say, gravitas to their project, and it makes them suddenly have this wonderful, meaningful experience as a Rotarian. So a big question. Oh, go ahead.
This is Ken. One of the big things that we found with our club, because we're a little younger, is actually having that one person take ownership of the project. We've had meetings where someone will actually come up with an idea but not feel comfortable doing it, so we find someone else who will be able to take charge of that project. And I think I want to say Dick Ertman at one of the meetings was talking about championing the projects and getting somebody in charge. And from our perspective, I just wanted to let everybody know that that really does work. Having one person just claim ownership of that project.
Absolutely. And by doing that, they're saying, yes, it's an important project. And being that champion means that you can recruit the right kinds of people to get the thing done. The person that comes up with the idea doesn't always know exactly how to accomplish it, and you can't necessarily throw an idea out simply because the person that came up with it doesn't have a plan. But you do have people in your club that know how to get the plan, or people that they can reach out to in other clubs. Hey, we've never done this before. Can you help us?
Exactly.
And I think we're coming across that right now. Dan's putting together some projects between clubs to help us get a strong force together to accomplish some things together as a group. And it's really important that we realize, okay, we may not have all the resources. And some of the clubs are quite small too, and they just simply don't have that many people to reach into and tap into their daily schedules. So absolutely, you need a champion, and you need to support people, even if they are simply the idea givers. Sometimes that's what we need just to get things going.
Hey, Deb. I also wanted to mention that one thing that I've experienced with young clubs and maturing clubs is that volunteers, in a lot of sense, need to be trained. They need to be taught how to volunteer. And sometimes very low-hanging fruit.
Not hearing you very well, Dan. There's a lot of noise on the air.
Okay, I'll try this again. Sometimes creating some low-hanging fruit for some of the new members to get them kind of broke into, hey, you're a part of the team. I think that's an important thing for a new club or new members that are coming through.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Lots of noise, guys. You need to mute your microphone if you're not speaking. Okay, thank you. And that innovation, kind of moving on to this next slide. How does your club model work? Is it working? And honestly, Rotary, on our Rotary.org site, we have some great tools looking at club health, and I saw a worksheet during the conference about checking your club's health. One of these things to take a look at in your club is, are we growing? People that tend not to take leadership roles in a club tend not to take responsibility for the growth sometimes. They are members, and we have members in every club who simply want to be a member of the Rotary Club. They don't want to be an officer. They don't want to have the responsibility of lots of noise back there. Somebody needs to mute their mic, please. If you have your mic on, would you turn it off for a moment, please?
And somebody who's on the phone.
Thank you. Taking a look at your club health, making sure that your members understand it's everybody. Everybody is a mentor. Everybody's an advocate to help promote our club and wear their club pins and to be out in public and let people know, well, I'm a Rotarian and this is what I was working on the other day. So, you know, talk about what you're doing as a Rotarian because it's part of your life. Examining if your club is growing. And a lot of times club members don't take time to stand back and look at that. Well, I'm a club member, I don't need to bring any more members in. Well, that's not necessarily true. Bringing people in that you like to be with is going to make this place a place that you want to hang out more. So I encourage our club, and I continue to encourage our club to take a look at who they like to hang with, who are their friends, who are the colleagues that they'd like to spend more time with, what other kinds of organizations that they're in that they may meet people they'd like to get to know better. What better way to know them than to do a service project with them? So taking a look at these different aspects of examining your club, taking a closer look, and making some changes that sometimes can be a little dramatic, especially if the club is well established. I see this, the idea was posted, a twist on the idea to getting new members develop ideas and plan new project together as a group. Absolutely. New members, when they come in, most of the time they're anxious to do something. They joined a service club, for example. So what kind of service would you like to do? Finding out about new members' interest in joining a Rotary Club in the first place, find out what kinds of people they would like to help. And invest in that particular idea and help them with it, put together a project. So think about it for a minute. Imagine if you could remodel your club like you would renovate your home. You could demolish and redesign it, save the good stuff, and build a renewed club. What would that club look like? Some of you obviously may have had the experience of taking a sledgehammer to your room or to your house.
Well,
It can be
that,
very liberating.
excuse me, the
Yes.
visioning addresses that quite a bit.
Yes.
The whole visioning process.
And that's exactly right.
Hey, Jack.
So imagining, and Jack makes an excellent point, the visioning process that all the clubs go through is exactly where we go with this, to take a look at, all right, where do you want to be next year, and even five years down the road. So as you imagine your ideal Rotary Club, because we know that all things can be improved, whether your club's a year old or 10 years old or older. Anything can be better. So think about it. Think about how you would change something, even if it was just one small thing. Some of you may be familiar with this concept called POC, the point of contact. For example, if your members expect our club and our district to perform in excellent ways, we must be doing well in all the areas that we serve. So we must at least be as good as our competing clubs and organizations. So to create and sustain members, it's something that we need to consider every contact with each member is an opportunity for us to give value in some way. Every single time we meet another member, a prospective member, this is about building value among our team. So every service point is critical. Every service point has a level of expectation, and the member expects whether or not they're going to be understood, whether things are, their desires or their wants are going to be managed and met in some way, or exceeded in some cases. These are the points of contact. So each time you run into someone, you meet someone, you're at a club meeting, the attitude that you display is very key. And for each of the members, it's good to go to share these things and to reinforce these things, even to the point of complimenting someone. Oh, I'm so glad you were listening to them. Could you repeat that for me? I'd love to hear more about that. Take a moment, be a subtle eavesdropper, and share some ideas with a new member. Being empathetic, of course, and friendly. That perceived value, the results are absolutely phenomenal. People love it when you let them tell their story. They want to come back and talk to you more about their work. They'll certainly pay it forward with referrals. And they'll get on board for more projects. They'll get on board to do more things and to be more involved. An emotional connection is that point of contact that we need to make with all of our members. So I'm going to ask you just to, write down or share with the group here, when you had the first opportunity to engage with a prospective member, when are these opportunities for you?
Mine usually come online, to be honest with you, but that's because I'm an Uber nerd.
The Uber nerd.
Yeah.
And that's true. I do encounter a lot of people online because I'm a Uber nerd too. So I can't even say that very well. Uber nerd.
Yeah, you gotta be able to pronounce it.
Uber nerd. All right. Well, I think that for me, I think it's actually a good idea to actually write down a list as you reflect on your week. Let's say you've had a very busy week in your community. Take a look at the times you may have had an opportunity to engage somebody about Rotary and didn't. Just write down on a list, okay, I saw this person, I talked to this person.
And honestly, another really good one, and this delves outside of technology, or at least halfway, informational business cards that you carry around.
Yes.
I brought this up before I left. When we had a web presence and everything, which I think we still do. But anyways, I would often struggle in conversation with people, and when I got to that point where I just couldn't explain enough to them, I would be able to give them this card and say, hey, I look forward to hooking up with you online to be able to tell you more about this, and in the meantime, you can research this at this website or whatever information we have on the card.
Yeah.
It's really a great tool to be able to give to somebody to kind of finalize your sell.
And it's that follow-up that actually creates a relationship. You meet them the first time, then following up with them. Oh, they didn't forget about me. They actually followed up, and that's cool. So
if they're the kind of people who throw business cards away, well, then you're just stuck on, I hope I said something funny and they remember me.
Yeah. Well, and it is true. Honestly, I find that follow-up has probably gone. I think it has to be one of the best tools you can do. Is you take somebody's business card, you talk a little bit about Rotary, you go back home, you look and see if they're on LinkedIn or Facebook, or send them an email and say, hey, listen, we really had a great time talking to you today. I hope you have an opportunity to see you again. Yeah. And you create that friendship.
Bring up something personal that you actually talked to them about, or maybe even an idea that they said or mentioned, and there you go, bang.
That's right. Tom made a comment here, develop a list of possible members and look for successful individuals. Hey, that is really key. I love that, Tom.
What are we, elitists now?
You got to look for somebody that is developing a successful business or has a successful business or a successful career. Obviously, folks that are struggling, it can be very difficult to be a Rotarian, especially if you just simply don't have the financial resources to pay the dues and to invest in the foundation. So we understand that.
A lot of the time, while I was struggling, still am, that Rotary was actually a very good support brace.
Yeah, I agree.
Not to say that we should not really focus on the successful people, but I don't want to.
Well, and I kind of agree with you, Logan, in that you do have to look at folks in terms of potential. And when we're talking about young professionals, I always look at how we can help them grow their business too. So for me, it comes both ways. Yeah, they may not have a highly lucrative business at this time, but I tend to get to know them in such a way that I can find out whether or not they have potential and they're serious about where they're going. They're an ideal Rotarian, regardless of what their resources are, because they are invested in so many ways emotionally that they're going to put that effort into Rotary. So how does the club member experience worth? Loyal members feel worth something. Loyal members create consistent service and they're enthusiastic about what they do. So what kinds of situations or experiences when your club, when you felt valuable, when you felt like, wow, I feel like they appreciate me? Or am I speaking to a lot of unappreciated people out there?
No, I was definitely highly appreciated and was not feeling too good about myself at that point in time. No, the fact that Rotary does that as a whole, all the clubs I've gone to, before I even have a chance to do anything for them, they hear about what I can do, and they're automatically really, really excited and are trying to build me up as much as they can. And that atmosphere just it's almost like a drug. I mean, you want more of that, so that's one of the reasons I kept coming back.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because I really do believe that that's one of those places. I kind of make it the same correlation to when I was a Toastmaster. People just are so excited and happy that you're there, and they get to know what you can do, and you do feel appreciated. It's been a wonderful experience for me. Dan pointed out a few minutes ago, being when someone listened to you, when you felt like they were listening to you. Mary Jo says, when I received a thank you note for participating in a project, absolutely. Somebody says thank you. There's no bigger gratification than being appreciated. And Tom says, obviously, individuals need to be appreciated. Thank you, Tom. This is all it is. And by making it not only a private appreciation, but a public appreciation. Make sure all the Rotarians here. Listen, did you hear what they did last week for that person? Just that little extra something to make people know how valuable they are, not only to the club, but also to our community.
Yep.
Deb, one thing that I saw when I was at Pets, they've got the Rotary salesperson who comes and sells all their wares is these Rotary coins, and they're kind of cheesy, but coming from an Air Force background, I'm used to leaders giving out coins as a thank you. And
Yes.
So I picked up, it was just basically a roll of coins, and they lasted me all year as president. But anytime, they helped out or they did something good, I'd bring that person up, hand them a coin. They got to be in front of everybody, and it was just something small, but it's just a nice and easy thank you for them doing, helping out.
Absolutely, and I do believe that's something we need to encourage all the club leaders to make sure there's a little bit of a budget to have some of those things, not only for the member chairs, but for other members who bring a member on board to be able to give that little extra recognition each year so that they have some things like that. And point them in the direction of where to buy some if they'd like to on their own. I recently purchased some pins for some of my Rotary sisters the Appreciating Women series, and it has 4 women on this pin. Now, they were not expensive, but it was really a fun afternoon when I gave 3 of my girlfriends these pins, as part of the Women in Rotary celebration. And they really valued those things, and this made them feel very special in a very unique way. So, yeah, doing those little things like that, and it doesn't cost a ton of money, and yet somebody's got something kind of nice to hold in their hand. This is oh, go ahead.
One thing our club does, and I don't know how many others do or don't, but we have every meeting we do a getting to know you, a Rotary Insight, and it's alphabetical. But when you get a new member, get them formally up in front of the whole club and just do a getting to know you. Who are you? Where are you from? Whatever they want to say. And sometimes it's fun and very interesting, even members that have been in the club for a long time, when it's their turn to do a getting to know you. But it's especially important for new members.
Absolutely, Jack. Absolutely.
I mean,
I want to
only
share
for
something
the,
that Dick Erdman shared with us.
just jump on what Jack said. If only, we're talking about the networking opportunities that go along with that too. I mean, this is the person's ability to talk about what they do as a business, so other people know that. So it's good from that standpoint too, not just a personal one.
And so, yeah, you and I were talking about at Mike at conference that I think especially with young professionals, we need to make sure they understand, hey, we're here to help you. We want your businesses to be successful. I even went out on a limb and said, I want all of my business people in our Rotary Club to be rich. I mean, really rich. So whatever I can do to refer their businesses and to help them grow their businesses, because if they're rich, they've got money to give away. And if they're going to give money away, that's going to help our foundation. So I'm all good with that. And I know people kind of reacted, I had some shocked faces. I said, well, what's wrong with them being rich? I want them to have the boat and the house, and I want them to give the Rotary Foundation. So it's a good thing. Our friend Dick Erdman shared this buddy plan that they use up in Old Fallon, and I just wanted to share it with all of you. And I didn't put the whole thing up here, but this is just kind of an engagement tool that they use. I thought it was cool that some of the guidelines they have in here. Membership chair and club secretary work together, and they monitor attendance. And what they look at is, okay, they start to fall below 50%, and they're not attaining that required 50%. Then there's some action that needs to be taken there. So the club membership chair. And it kind of bootstrapping off of Dan's point, getting everyone involved in terms of mentorship, recruits or appoints a Rotary buddy for the members who haven't kept their attendance up. And this buddy reaches out to that member. And they do it in a positive way, of course. We miss you. What's up with you? Tell us what's going on lately. Your business obviously going well, or is there something else that we can help you with? So forth. Do something positive to reach out to that member. And then another thing, the membership chair provides buddies with lists of other Rotary clubs for makeups and makeup projects and things like that. The list is quite extensive, and I'm going to be sharing it on our district membership Facebook group after we get off the air tonight. But it's a very nifty set of guidelines, and very helpful, I think, for clubs, especially some clubs where people are just on the wane of attendance. Now, I've got to say that we have, from time to time, experienced members that simply aren't attending. They don't not want to be in Rotary. For some reason, they're not attending. The reason really is not significant to me. What I want to do is help them find a way to engage with our club again. So very often I will reach out to them and say, what's up with you? Tell me what's going on with you lately. I want to buy you a cup of coffee. I miss having you around the table. Let's talk about something you might be interested in doing. Find out what makes them happy. why have they lost interest, or why are they not carving out that little hour of time each week? What's the deal? We all make choices in time, and very often you will hear me say investing time. Well, I'm a time strategies coach. I help people with that. And if you're spending time, you're wasting it. If you're investing time, you're getting something out of it. And that philosophy, I use that to drive home when I'm trying to contact members that are not attending regularly. And one of those things I keep in mind is they are investing that hour somewhere else. And that for whatever reason, is it an inconvenient time, location, then what other projects would they like to work on, makeups would they like to do, and that sort of thing. And I've reached out to several members like that over the past year, and it has become a satisfactory relationship. And we found that, okay, maybe this wasn't going to work for them, maybe it was, but we found out. So I highly recommend that you take a look at this Rotary Buddy Plan, because it's a very effective way to kind of follow up. This is another tool that Dick has shared with us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Before we leave that one,
yes, ma'am.
I had somebody tell me recently that they had missed a couple meetings. It was just more work, and this person had good attendance, but somebody called them and said, "Hey, what's going on?" And it really meant a lot to them. And this wasn't a person who would normally missed, but just the fact that somebody noticed, and took the time to reach out, actually made a big impression.
I had that same kind of experience. I reached out recently to a member that hasn't been attending a long time, but he's paying his dues. He's making contributions and he's paying his dues, and he wants to stay a Rotarian. So I followed up again with them, and I said, "So what's up? What's going on? And let's catch up here real soon." And I found out that, well, his mother had been ill, very seriously ill, and he had had a lot of family complications, had moved, and had a big deal to do with his grandchildren. We caught up a little bit, and he also told me, well, some of the projects really didn't resonate with him, and so I asked him what he felt like doing. I kind of sort of knew already. And I said, well, it just so happens we're doing something and we could really use your help. So he said, I'll be there. And he signed up. So you never know. You have to do what resonates with people. And sometimes it just requires a little extra conversation. So mentor programs at work. And this is another thing that Dick shared with me. And I wanted to kind of put this graphic up here again. I'll share this with all of you on our Rotary District 6510 membership group on Facebook. But this is the mentoring worksheet, and I really like this. This is a great little tool, and obviously we can massage it to fit our individual club needs. But taking a look, somebody's munching, and it sounds delicious, but could you mute your mic, please? Thank you. This is for the new Rotarian coming in, and letting them know, okay, someone has been decided to mentor you. So during your first few months as a member, you have this person that you could turn to and ask them questions and that sort of thing, and taking a look at all of the different activities. For instance, reading the following, the Rotary Basics and the orientation book and about the Rotary Foundation, etc. All these different kinds of things that there have been kind of little assignments for that new Rotarian to do, and we don't threaten them with an exam on here, as I can see. We just tell them to do it. But this is an excellent guideline, and I encourage all of you to adopt some sort of a program like this. First of all, it lets that new Rotarian know that we really do care about you learning as much as possible about this, and that you're a well-educated Rotarian. So you can find out what you want to do. I think most of us in this group understand the more you do with Rotary, the more you love working with Rotary. And you find that you can make it what means something to you, because it's such a diverse organization with lots of different ways that you can use your skills. So you decide how you want to apply yourself. And if someone needs your skills and you are in a place where you can give those skills to Rotary, it can be an extraordinarily rewarding organization to belong to. So by doing this, you're actually sharing with those new members the excitement that you feel about being a Rotarian. You can tell them what kinds of great experiences you've had, and you'll learn about Rotary at the same time, because you're forcing yourself back into the materials. It's almost a refresher course to be a mentor.
Can I add something there
yes.
too?
Yes.
Another way to do that and sort of institutionalize it, the way we do a getting to know you at our Rotary. If every meeting you get a Rotarian to stand up and share their Rotary moment, like was done at the district conference, by individuals sharing their own Rotary moment, I think it gives, a little an insight to new Rotarians, to new people, what Rotary's all about.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Steve's out there. Steve Jackson put a point up here. Let's see, where is it? I missed it here. Steve, we invite new members to a club board meeting to help them understand us better. And I think that's a really good idea too, letting them know what's happening at the board level in terms of those decisions. I think, Mike, you put this up here. We have the reading assignments for Rotary Basics posted on the files at the Rotary Membership Facebook group. Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
all the stuff from the mentor program checklist you have there.
Are you there?
I'm sorry, did you hear me?
Are we still on? No.
I'm still on, Deborah. Can you hear me?
Now I can, yeah.
Okay, so what I was saying is, so everything you have in the mentor checklist that we have there, and that's actually from my club.
Oh, yeah.
I posted on the Facebook group, our membership Facebook group, so everybody who's listening in can download them for their club and post them. I have them on our website. It's just an easy place for a mentor to go or a new member to go and download, and that way they don't have to go hunting for them on the on the Rotary website.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a little hard to find all those documents. Thank you, Mike. That's excellent. I also posted, this is the good ideas for membership. Jack White has compiled this fantastic tool book, and it is also, I converted it to a PowerPoint for our group here. And it's the District 6510 membership group. If you go out there to the Facebook, we'll see if this link works. I think it might. But anyway, if you go out to that group, you may be able to see it. There you go. For those of you that have not visited that group yet, that's where we are, and we have files out there that you can download to support the kinds of things we're trying to do. Lots of different activities. I posted the LinkedIn district conference presentation that I did for the public relations piece, and we've got, as you can see, there are lots of tools out there. The Facebook and Twitter Manager Hootsuite. So you've got a lot of tools at your disposal there to use to support this particular endeavor that we're trying to do here. So I want to first of all thank all of you for being so patient and helping us experiment with this new webinar process. And do you have any other questions you'd like to throw at me before we wrap up? No? No, not right now. Okay, well, if you don't have any questions, but you'd like to maybe talk about membership planning, or would like to have some of us come to visit your club, we'd be happy to do that. And again, I'm going to emphasize there's our Facebook link to the membership group. Check us out, and we can get you in that group. And we have lots of resources. We're going to be posting those regularly for all of you to download. I did convert the Good Ideas book to a PowerPoint. So if you wanted to present this particular Good Ideas for Membership book that we have, if you wanted to use it as a presentation for your club, it's actually done in a PowerPoint there on our group Facebook page. So if you'd like to use it and do something like that for your club, it's available for you now.
Well, this is Jack. I have hard copies too.
Yes.
If somebody wants one or more hard copies, just contact me and I'll mail them to you or get them to you or whatever, and I'd be happy to present it at a club. And I think the next webinar is going to be mine.
Yep, should be mid-January or so. We just got to pick a date, Jack.
Well, okay, but not right now. But my presentation, a lot of what Deb's done is very valuable, and a lot of it, or I would say the majority, is aimed at retention, loyalty, and all the other topics. I think what I'm going to talk about more is getting new members in the first place. And, tools that are in that book and other things I picked up. Mine's going to be more about recruiting or acquiring or asking and inviting people.
Well, that'll be fantastic. And
Well, I think we're about to wrap up, Mike. So.
Oh no! Hey, and I just wanted to again thank Dr. Deb Frey for hosting today, and thank for all the wonderful participation. I thought we had a good cross section of both people jumping up and saying, giving good ideas, and also putting in stuff in the chat box. And so the big thing we need feedback with is what subjects you want to hear about next. You can either chat us, you can email Deb or myself. Just the Facebook page is the place to do it. Just throw your ideas and what you want to hear. Again, we're trying to serve you all, and so expect to see our next webinar in the January timeframe, and hopefully we can get a good. We're looking forward to a great presentation from Jack. So, Deb, if you don't have anything else, or any last words from the group,
go out there and hug a Rotarian. That's what we need to do. It's a really important thing to keep those members happy and find out what they love to do and do your best to invest your time with them. And